It's Tuesday morning. I'm tired. Let's talk about injuring people. Located on page 272 of the Dungeon Master's Guide, the Lingering Injuries table is a great option for anyone looking to add a bit more bite to their game. Rather than straight damage, the Lingering Injuries table allows for you to add negative status effects that are a bit more cinematic. These options will definitely make players take combat a bit more seriously. The way it works is basically you roll a 20-sided dice. Anytime someone takes a critical hit from an enemy, anytime they go down to 0 hit points and fall unconscious, and in the rules it says also anytime your character will make fail a death saving throw, but I prefer not to use that one myself. Once you roll that d20, it gives you a result listed on that table, and it can be things like losing an eye, and then you have reduced passive perception, reduced normal perception, disadvantage, things of that nature. You can lose a foot, and then your speed is halved. You can get a broken rib, and then you don't get to use reactions in combat. You can end up with, if you're lucky, just a minor scar that just looks really cool, and you'll collect them on your character over time. Things like that. A lot of these things can be counteracted by high-level healing magic. Some of them aren't nearly as bad as losing a limb. There's some stuff in there that's just like really, really bad scars that maybe people are kind of scared whenever they first look at you because the scars are that bad. But it's definitely a better option than straight damage in a lot of cases. The reason I started using the Lingering Injuries table in my game is because I was actually playing another game with a friend, and in that game, he had us do fights, and we had a really good cleric. And so what would happen is our fighters would dive into combat, they would start tanking damage, and they would go down inevitably, and then the healer would heal them for like maybe 10 points, maybe 1 point, maybe 5 points. And then on their turn, they'd stand back up, they'd do a whole another round of actions, and then the bad guys who were still left alive would hit them for that much damage, and they'd fall down again. And then the cleric would heal them for 1. And then they'd stand up, and they'd attack, etc. And this would just kind of go on of fall down, stand back up, fall down, stand back up. And I feel like it kind of takes away from sort of the absurdity of combat and, or I should say, how dangerous it can really be. So to counteract that, the Lingering Injuries table definitely can add a bit more bite to your game and make your clerics want to heal sooner rather than always waiting till you hit 0, because you might lose a leg, you might lose an eye, things of that nature. And a lot of the things on the table, you really need higher level healing magic to really get through and have a completely healed character. I also think that the Lingering Injuries table is a great trap response. Right now, in a lot of the trap options, even in the Dungeon Master's Guide, it's mostly one of 2 flavors. Either you take hit point damage, or you lose your stuff. Neither is really fun. So what I mean by that is basically, obviously, like an arrow shoots out of a wall and it hits you in the chest. So you take maybe 5 points of damage because you didn't see that arrow slit and you stepped on a pressure plate, something like that. The other option is you fall into green slime. It eats through all of your armor. That 1,500 gold that you spent on plate mail is now gone. You just lose it, and it sucks. And that's not exactly fun either. So I think that the Lingering Injuries table is a great option for traps as well. Whenever that arrow slit shoots that arrow, because Joe Schmo stepped on the pressure plate without letting the rogue go first, maybe rolling on the Lingering Injuries table and seeing whether or not he loses an eye or has a horrible scar because of that, definitely makes players want to avoid traps without necessarily causing them to need to not be able to do the next fight, which is really sort of the deal. Now, if the party sees that lingering injury and they think that it's important enough to go ahead and heal now, maybe they'll use their resources to take care of it. But otherwise, that one player can just be at a slight disadvantage for the next fight, and I think it's a really great option. Consider using it in your next game. Till next time, we'll see you in the dungeon.